1, Indian Fever. You can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game. That's when the excitement begins. So catch Indian Fever. Be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
Hello, and welcome to the Monday, February 4th, 2019 Lake County Sentinel Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Shirer, publisher and sports editor of the Lake County Sentinel. We've got a busy show tonight, and I'm going to start off with, I tweeted earlier today I'm not going to name him, because I don't want to give the guy any, credit. But, I tweeted at a talk show host on local Cleveland talk radio today because his continued hatred of the Cleveland Indians is a joke. The guy knows nothing except the Browns. And so what do I get? I tweet a tweet at him, and what do I get? I get a reaction from Browns fans sticking up for the guy. Well, of course I do. Because that's Browns fans. They only see things the way they want them. They disrespect the Indians and the Cavs constantly. So I'm going to be the guy that sticks up for the Cavs and Indians. And if Browns fans and Cleveland media don't like it, tough crap. I'm going to continue to fight the good fight for the Indians and Cavs because they are so much more successful than the Browns. And they deserve respect in this town, which they never get. So I'm going to continue to tweet stuff. I'm going to continue to call people out when they treat the Indians and Cavs badly. Start treating the three teams the same, and I won't call you out. All right, let's move on. The Cavaliers will be in action tomorrow night at the Q against the Boston Celtics. Of course, Kyrie Irving will not play. He's hurt again. What a surprise. Kyrie's always hurt. Plus, he doesn't want to play in Cleveland because he knows when he plays in Cleveland, he's going to get booed every time he touches the ball. And, well, he should because he's a punk. I said he was a punk when he was here. I said he was a punk when he got traded. I laughed when he claimed that he was going to be loyal to the Celtics. Kyrie Irving is loyal to no one but himself. Okay? So it's not even a surprise that he's not playing tomorrow night because, he doesn't want to get booed. Bad part is Jetty Osman will not play for the Cavs. I guess the ankle must still be affecting him a little bit, which that's not good. Hopefully he can remedy that situation quickly and get back on the court. The Cavs, of course, are 11-42. They're in 14th place in the East. They have the third worst record in the NBA. They're rebuilding. We know that. They can't rebuild for a year, though, without getting ripped apart in the Cleveland media. The Browns rebuilt for 19 years, and that was okay. All right, so the Celtics are 34-19 and in third place in the Eastern Conference in the NBA. The Cavs made a trade yesterday, and they traded Rodney Hood to the Portland Trail Blazers for Nick Stauskas and Wade Baldwin. Baldwin and Stauskas are not exactly the two greatest players ever, acquired by the Cavs. But I think the Cavs I don't think they were real happy with Rodney Hood, so they traded. They also released Kobe Simmons from his 10-day contract. But Nick Stauskas, he is 6'6", 205. He's a guard. Wade Baldwin is also a guard, 6'4", 200 pounds. And, they are what they are. Stauskas is in his fifth year. Baldwin has gone between the Trailblazers and the Texas Legends of the NBA G League. He's only played 6 games with the Blazers this year. But who knows what you can find? He's in his third NBA season. Who knows what you can find? There were times where teams pick a guy up and you're like, who's this guy? And then he ends up being a really good player. It's happened a lot in the NBA. So are these guys going to be LeBron James? No. But you never know what they can end up turning into. But they also got two second-round draft picks. They seem to be piling draft picks. They have got a 2021 and a 2023 second-round draft pick from Portland. They now have traded for 7 draft picks, since 7 second-round draft picks since LeBron James left. So they own a lot of people's draft second-round picks. We'll move on now to the Monsters. The Monsters will be in action tomorrow night in Charlotte against the Checkers. The Monsters dropped their last game 6-3 to the Syracuse Crunch. They're at 47 points. They're in 5th place in the American League North. The Checkers are in 1st place in the American League Atlantic Division with 68 points. I don't see this as a negative with the Monsters going there, because the Monsters seem to do worse against bad teams. So they might have a good shot against Charlotte. You never know. So we'll have to see what happens there. And then we have on Friday night, the Menor Icebreakers will be in action in Port Huron against the Prowlers at 7 o'clock in Federal Hockey League action. The Icebreakers are in last place, 8th place, with 26 points. They've been stuck on 26 for quite a while now. And the Port Huron Prowlers are in 4th place with 41 points. So it is what it is with the expansion Menor Icebreakers. They'll be home then on Saturday. They lost both over the weekend in Elmira, so that doesn't help. They just have been having, a rough time lately, and it's really hard for an expansion team. I don't care what anyone says. It is hard to be an expansion team. They've lost 5 in a row. They're 2-8 in their last 10. It's just not easy. I mean, they've given up a lot of goals. They've given up 158 goals, and that's 13 more than the next team. 158 goals in 33 games. So they're averaging almost 5 goals per game. That's not real good. You're not going to win very many games if you're averaging giving up 5 and you're only scoring 3. So they're having a tough time. They do lead the league in penalty minutes, which I don't know if that's just because of frustration or what, but they do lead the league in penalty minutes. So if you like physical hockey, you might want to go check them out, because they do commit a lot of penalties and get sent to the penalty box quite a bit. They are 30 minutes ahead of the next team. So that's what's going on with the Icebreakers at this point. We have the Indians made a trade today. They traded for Nick Wittgren from the Miami Marlins. Wittgren had been designated for assignment when the Marlins signed Neil Walker. This is a very common thing that a reliever would be designated for assignment when you sign a good position player. So it's not like this guy wasn't good. If you look at his numbers from last year, he was pretty good. Okay? He was pretty good. Last year, he had an ERA of 2.92. The OPS against him was 684. His whip was 1.20. He struck out 31 guys in 33 and 2/3 innings. He walked 15. He gave up 29 hits, 2.94 ERA, 2-1. He didn't have any saves. The field independent pitching was 3.13. Struck out the walk ratio 2.07. So his numbers aren't bad. He's a middle reliever. That's about what you want with a middle reliever. Is he going to be the greatest thing ever? No, but no middle reliever is. That's why they're a middle reliever. But if we're just going to dismiss the guy, that's ridiculous. People are talking about the Indians need bullpen out. Well, they went out and got somebody from the bullpen, right? They gave up minor leaguer Jordan Milbrath, who I know. Jordan is a good guy. He's a right-handed pitcher. He's a starter. He pitched for Lake County. He's a real good guy. Real nice guy. Sometimes I think he's too nice. I mean, he might not be, he might not have that killer instinct on the mound. He's a really good guy, big guy. Hopefully he'll get a chance for Florida. I hope so. He pitched for Columbus this past year. Then I'd really like to see Jordan get a chance and make a major league roster and just see what he can do. I don't know if he'll be a starter. I don't know if he'll be out of the bullpen. But I'd like to see Jordan get a chance. And so that's who the Indians gave up for Nick Wittgren, who's pitched in 3 different major league seasons. So, they had another piece to the bullpen. 1 week from tomorrow, pitchers and catchers report. So they're trying to fill it out here. They're trying to see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of players still out there in free agency. I'm not saying they're going to go and sign Manny Machado or Bryce Harper or Craig Kimbrell. But there are a lot of players still out there for the fact that pitchers and catchers report in 8 days. So they might go after somebody else. I don't know. I can't really tell you what they're going to do. I can tell you pretty much that I believe they will win the division this year. The division still isn't great. Hey, that's not their fault. It's not great. And once you get in the playoffs, you never know what'll happen. So I think that they're building a bullpen right now. They need to build a bullpen. Okay, let's face it. The bullpen was terrible last year. That bullpen last year was hard to watch. Okay, it was really hard to watch. So I think that the fact they are understanding that and they are working to fix the bullpen is a good thing. They still need to do something maybe with the outfield. I don't know. Maybe the outfield's going to be better than we think. But we know the starting pitching is really good. We'll just see what happens with the outfield. The bullpen hopefully will be much better than last year. Let's hope. But I don't know. They added a piece today, Nick Wittgren. We'll see if that's going to be a good piece or if that's going to be a bad piece. Who knows? You can never tell with bullpens. They go from year to year. 1 year of bullpen is really good. 1 year of bullpen is bad. And you could see a team's record increase or decrease by 15 games because of their bullpen. I think last year a lot of the Indians' struggles was the bullpen. Their bullpen struggled, and they didn't. They weren't as good last year. So let's hope that they've addressed the bullpen. Let's hope that the bullpen improves and is the kind of bullpen that gets you to win some games in the playoffs. Because not only do they want to make the playoffs, they want to win. Obviously, the World Series is the goal. To win the World Series for them. That's the goal. I know a lot of people in Cleveland think, the Dolans just want to win the division every year. No, Dolans want to win the World Series, just like you do. So that's all for the sports portion of our podcast tonight. When we come back, we will talk news and politics. Welcome back to the February 4th, 2020 19, Lake County Sentinel Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Shirer. Want to get a hold of us, you can email us at lcsentinelpodcast@gmail.com. That is our podcast email address. It is just for the podcast, nothing else. So if you would like to get a hold of us, go ahead and we will answer your questions. So tonight, I saw a report earlier today, and it was from many different sources. It was not from one source, from one liberal media source, like CNN or MSNBC, like the right always tries to say that that's all we listen to, that these people should talk, the ones that only listen to Fox News, but that the president spends 60% of his day in the White House residence and in executive time. Okay? That means doing things other than work. All right? And of course, Newt Gingrich comes out and defends him. But of course, Newt Gingrich would defend Satan if it helped the Republican cause. And he basically, defending Trump is almost like defending Satan at this point. So that's, that thing there is ridiculous. Is anyone surprised? This is the guy that used to try to say that Barack Obama was lazy because he golfed. And we obviously know that Trump golfs way more than Barack Obama ever did. But his followers seem to be okay with that. These people seem to be okay with that. After they, had a problem with Barry Obama doing it, it's okay that Donald Trump does. It's okay that he goes golfing all the time, every weekend, and spends money getting there, taxpayers' money, to fly there every weekend. That's okay. He is so much worse at spending leisure time than Barack Obama ever was. But his followers say nothing about that. It's okay. They even make excuses why it's okay. These are the same people that called out Barack Obama. I wonder why we don't have a problem with Donald Trump doing it. I wonder, is it as simple as black and white to me? Is that the problem? Is it simple as black and white? Actually, I think it is. Because let's remember, we're dealing with simple-minded people. These Trump supporters who hated Barack Obama for one simple reason, and that was because he was. Let's move on. Right now, we're going to move on to another racial problem, and that's Virginia Governor Ralph Northam and the photo in his medical yearbook from 1984, where he is painted in blackface, said he did it for the weekend and now denies it. I feel like it's tough. Standing next to a guy in a Ku Klux Klan. Okay? The blackface thing is one thing. And when you're standing next to a guy who's wearing a Ku Klux Klan outfit, there we go. That right there might be enough to say, I know. Okay? You can't do that. can't be in public office and show that you're a racist. And Ralph Northam, that's a racist photo. Okay? And look, I am not happy with Democrats that I hear saying, well, we can't judge him for something he did 24 years ago. Look. We've judged Donald Trump and other Republicans for what they did 24 years ago. But now we're going to say we can't judge Ralph Northam for what he did 24 years ago? Are you kidding me? You know how hypocritical that is. Okay? We say Trump supporters in the GOP right now are the most hypocritical people we've ever seen. All right, well, maybe they are. But you know what? You sound like hypocrites when you're sitting there and you're defending Ralph Northam, saying you can't judge him on something he did in 1984. You're right. That was 35 years ago. That's a long time ago. He might have changed. But you know what? He probably should pay for that. That racist photo. Don't tell me, Democrats, don't tell me that if you found that exact same photo of Donald Trump or Lindsey Graham or Mitch McConnell, you wouldn't be calling for their resignation immediately. You would be. You absolutely would be. So don't be hypocrites and try to make excuses for Ralph Northam. He needs to resign, and he needs to resign now. Okay? He does. Sounds like his replacement would be Lieutenant Governor Dustin Fox, because he's got problems of his own. There's sexual assault allegations from 2004, which he completely denies, and there really hasn't been any proof that they're true. And there's no proof that they're true. There's proof that, this was Northam in those photos. Enough people have said it's Northam. Okay? This is in his yearbook. It's him. I mean, he admitted it at first, then he denied it. So there's enough people to say, okay, it's time for you to go, buddy. But the allegations against Fairfax have not been corroborated. He denies them vehemently. And it's kind of interesting that they come out today, when he might be elevated to being governor of Virginia. Okay? A black governor in Virginia. That's interesting there. Because you think of that. Justin Fairfax, black governor in Virginia. The home to the capital of the Confederacy. So you can bet there's some people that don't want him to be the governor of Virginia. Not of the governor of their state of Virginia. Capital of the Confederacy. They don't want him to, they probably don't want him to be governor of that state. Old habits die hard in the South. So, we'll see what happens with Fairfax, but I believe Northam definitely should resign, especially since he admitted to it and now he's changed his mind. This guy needs to go. He needs to go, and we need to move on. We don't need racist people in our government. And did he change since then? Maybe. But you know what? That mistake is going to cost him being governor. I really hope this guy resigns. I really hope he realizes and does the right thing and resigns. It's really a bad mark for the Democratic Party if this guy doesn't resign. It makes them look like hypocrites. We've been fighting this racial battle. Are we really fighting the racial battle, though? Or are we just fighting against Republicans? This guy, he's got to resign. If the Democratic values are we are against racism, then Ralph Northam needs to resign immediately. Go. Bye. We don't want to hear from you again. You're out. You don't represent our party. That's what Democrats have to say. Or we're hypocrites. Okay? Do you want to be what the Republicans have said we are? No. So he has to resign. And we have to call for him to resign. Democrats have to call for him to resign. Of course, Republicans are going to call for him to resign, but Democrats have to call for him to resign, okay? Democrats. Absolutely. Ralph Northam should resign. Tonight. Go on. Go. Disappear. He's worried about his legacy. Well, he should have worried about his legacy before he wore a black face and stood next to a Ku Klux Klan guy. A guy dressed like a Ku Klux Klan member for a photo at a party in 1984. Shit, he was in medical school. He didn't know better? He didn't know better than that. He was in medical school in 1984. Medical school! He was an adult. That means he was probably at least 22 years old. At least. He didn't know better? He didn't know that wearing a black face and taking a picture with a guy dressed like a Klansman wasn't a good idea? Well, boy, if he didn't know that, then there's a reason I don't want the guy to be governor. He's not very smart. Doesn't have a lot of common sense. No, Ralph Northam needs to resign tonight. He needs to go. Let him go. Please go. Please go. Democrats need to put pressure on him so he goes. Because this is hurting the Democrats. Every second that Northam remains in office, it's hurting the Democrats. If we're truly against racism, Ralph Northam needs to go. That's it. We'll move on now to the stock market. Stock market update for February 4th, 2019 is it closed today up 177.27 points at 25,239.37. Stock market has now rose 5,321 points and 21.08% under Donald Trump as president. At this point in his presidency, Barack Obama, the stock market went up 4,092 points, 15, and had increased 33.84%. So points-wise, Obama is behind Trump. Percentage-wise, which is really the most important thing, if you know anything about the stock market, Obama is still over 12.76 points ahead of Trump. So Obama still, the stock market was still increasing more under Barack Obama than it is under Donald Trump. So we have that to end the show tonight. Stock market, we end it every night. And that's it for tonight. I hope everyone will be back with us tomorrow. We will have our podcast at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And I hope everyone can join us. I hope you have a good night until then. Have a good night, everybody.